So, we are trying to recognize the priceless gift that we received from Srila Prabhupada. And actually, this Krishna consciousness, from whichever perspective, from whichever angle we look at it, we see this is the highest spiritual achievement, the highest spiritual situation, the highest spiritual activity. It has been described in the scriptures that this Krishna consciousness is actually rare even for Lord Brahma, even for Lord Shiva. It's so rare. Brahmaru durlabho prem. This Krishna prem is rare even for Lord Brahma, even for Lord Shiva. So that is what we are actually trying to understand, recognize, and assess. So in that respect, we will discuss in this session about a brilliant piece of writing by Srila Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami was the minister, he was the chief minister of the government, the king of West Bengal. At that time, of course, there was no East or West Bengal, the king of Bengal. Bengal at that time was under the rule of the Muslim king. Like practically the rest of India, about 500 years ago, entire India was practically entire India was under the rule of the Muslims, excepting Orissa. King Prataprudra maintained his sovereignty. Muslims couldn't defeat him. And some southern part of India. But apart from that, rest of India was under Muslim domination. And the ruler, the king of Bengal was Hussain Shah. And Sanatana Goswami was his minister. There are two brothers, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami is the elder one, and Rupa Goswami was younger brother. It's quite surprising that in the court of a Muslim king, a Hindu Brahmana was the chief minister. Two brothers, one holding two most important positions. Chief minister and finance minister. And as a result of that, both of them practically became Muslims due to not so much themselves, but the Hindu society was very rigid those days. If anything, if there was any such contact with the Muslims, the Hindu society used to ostracize them. And the Muslims actually took advantage of that. They will just do certain thing, engage them in a certain way, and as a result of that, the Hindu society was ostracized them. And Hussain Shah got them, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, into his ministry because he was aware that these two personalities were extremely intelligent, extremely capable. And so as a result of that, he wanted them to join his court. And they also did not have any other option, because if they did not join, then nobody could imagine what the king could have done to them or to their family. There had been many such instances. Like one instance was Subudhi Roy, another very, very exalted personality. He was very wealthy also. And Hussain Shah was his employee. He was actually the ruler. And Hussain Shah was his employee. And at one point, Hussain Shah made some mistake or did something wrong, and he was whipped. And one day Hussain Shah's queen saw the mark of whips on his back. When one is whipped, the flesh inside cut in such a way, the skin remains the same, skin doesn't get affected, but the flesh gets slashed. And as a result of that, there is a permanent mark remains there. So the queen asked, what happened? How did you get these marks? So he said that, yes, I made some mistake, I did something wrong, and I was whipped by my employer, Subudhi Roy. So then the queen said, then kill him. Why did he do that to you? That he has done that to you, you should kill him now. Now Hussain Shah had some soft corner for Subudhi Roy. He told her that, oh, actually once he had chastised me, that's true. But in many other occasions he displayed a lot of compassion and mercy upon me. The queen kept on insisting, no, you have to kill him, you have to kill him. So then finally he said, okay, for him, if I take away his religion, that will be as good as killing him. So, and what he did, he made him drink some water that was probably, I don't know what it was actually, which is considered to be a contaminated water. Maybe they put a drop of blood in that water, a blood of cow in that water, and made him drink that. And as a result of that, he lost his religion. He was not, the Hindu society considered that. He lost his religion. And he consulted various brahmanas, so-called leaders of the Brahman community. And they gave various instructions, which was as good as dying. Some said you have to drink molten lead. You're not drinking molten lead. It's a hot lead. But he took shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Hussain Shah, Subudhi Roy. Tell me what should I do? This is what has happened to me. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, just chant Hare Krishna. Simple solution. And Subudhi Roy did that. He started to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But he left Bengal and went to Vrindavan. He was one of the first persons to go to Vrindavan. from Bengal, and settle down. And although he was like a king at one time, he used to just cut wood from the forest and sell it in the city of Mathura. That's how he was maintaining himself. But he was staying in Vrindavan. And when the Bengali devotees used to come to Vrindavan, he used to feed them rice. The Bengalis are very fond of rice. And those days, in that area, there was no rice available. So, knowing how fond the Bengalis were of rice, he used to save his money from selling whatever little he used to get. He used to save some money from his earning to feed the Bengalis some rice. This is one example how rigid the Hindu society used to be those days, especially the Brahmanas. I'll come to that also at some point. These Brahmanas actually destroyed the Vedic culture. Garuda Purana actually mentions Brahmana kalimashritta jayante brahmajonishu. Taking advantage of the age of Kali, the Brahmanas, the Rakshasas will be born in the Brahmana families. And they would destroy the Vedic culture. And that's what happened. They introduced all kinds of atrocious, cruel activities and completely distorted the Vedic culture and simply took advantage of that for their own sense gratification in the name of Vedic culture. And anyway, and as a result of that, the whole culture became destroyed. And this is one of the influences of the Kali, age of Kali. Kali's business is to establish dharma. Kali's business is to establish adharma, destroy dharma. Dharma is what has given by Krishna himself. And that is preserved in the Vedas. And when the Vedic practices and Vedic teachings are distorted, then the whole dharmic principle and structure is destroyed. It's very, very unfortunate actually. And anyway, so Subhuti Rai was one example. There are many such examples how on some very insignificant reason they used to ostracize the other exalted Brahmanas. And Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami was an example. They are the ones, those who introduced the caste system in the name of Varnashram. Actual Varnashram is based on guna and karma. But their understanding was birth, the Varna by birth. Anyway, the birth has some relevance to Varnashram. But in the age of Kali, there is Varna Shankar. People, you can't determine who is who by his birth. In the Brahmana family, there are individuals with Sudra characteristics. In Brahmana families, there are even Rakshasas, demons, like Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Ravan. They all were born in Brahmana families. But nobody considers them to be Brahmana. Ravan is not considered to be a Brahmana. Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha was not considered to be a Brahmana. although the parentage is Brahmanical. Anyway, so to go back to the main point, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami were ostracized just because they accepted the job in the court of the king. They didn't consider what would have been the consequence if they did not, because Hussein Shah was an extremely cruel person also, extremely cruel person. So if they denied, then no one knew what could have been done to them. An example of Hussein Shah's cruelty. Hussein Shah built a victory tower. Those days they would build a kind of a monument for their victory. So a very high tower, it's still there. And so when he was inspecting the tower, the engine, he found some defect in that tower. And the architect was there explaining, and maybe the architect himself also admitted, yes, that's true, it's a defect. So Hussein Shah immediately caught him, picked him up and threw him out of that tower. Just for one little mistake, he just killed him. So this is how cruel this person was, and not only him. I mean, those days many such characters were like that. So we are trying to recognize the priceless gift that we received from Srila Prabhupada. And actually, this Krishna consciousness, from whichever perspective, from whichever angle we look at it, we see this is the highest spiritual achievement, the highest spiritual situation, the highest spiritual activity. It has been described in the scriptures that this Krishna consciousness is actually rare even for Lord Brahma, even for Lord Shiva. It's so rare. Brahmaru durlabho prem. This Krishna prem is rare even for Lord Brahma, even for Lord Shiva. So that is what we are actually trying to understand, recognize, and assess. So in that respect, we will discuss in this session about a brilliant piece of writing by Srila Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami was the minister. He was the chief minister of the government, the king of West Bengal. At that time, of course, there was no East or West Bengal, the king of Bengal. Bengal at that time was under the rule of the Muslim king. Like practically the rest of India, about 500 years ago, entire India was practically entire India was under the rule of the Muslims, excepting Orissa. King Prataprudra maintained his sovereignty. Muslims couldn't defeat him. And some southern part of India. But apart from that, rest of India was under Muslim domination. And the ruler, the king of Bengal was Hussain Shah, and Sanatana Goswami was his minister. There are two brothers, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami is the elder one, and Rupa Goswami was younger brother. It's quite surprising that in the court of a Muslim king, a Hindu Brahmana was the chief minister. Two brothers, one holding the two most important positions. Chief minister and finance minister. And as a result of that, both of them practically became Muslims due to not so much themselves, but the Hindu society was very rigid those days. If anything, if there was any such contact with the Muslims, the Hindu society used to ostracize them. And the Muslims actually took advantage of that. They will just do certain thing, engage them in a certain way, and as a result of that, the Hindu society was ostracized them. And Hussain Shah got them, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, into his ministry because he was aware that these two personalities were extremely intelligent, extremely capable. And so as a result of that, he wanted them to join his court. And they also did not have any other option, because if they did not join, then nobody could imagine what the king could have done to them or to their family. There had been many such instances. Like one instance was Subudhi Roy, another very, very exalted personality. He was very wealthy also. And Hussain Shah was his employee. He was actually the ruler. And Hussain Shah was his employee. And at one point, Hussain Shah made some mistake or did something wrong, and he was whipped. And one day Hussain Shah's queen saw the mark of whips on his back. When one is whipped, the flesh inside cut in such a way, the skin remains the same, skin doesn't get affected, but the flesh gets slashed. And as a result of that, there is a permanent mark remains there. So the queen asked, "What happened? How did you get these marks?" So he said that, "Yes, I made some mistake, I did something wrong, and I was whipped by my employer, Subudhi Roy." So then the queen said, "Then kill him. Why did he do that to you? That he has done that to you, you should kill him now." Now Hussain Shah had some soft corner for Subudhi Roy. He told her that, "No, actually once he had chastised me, that's true. But in many other occasions he displayed a lot of compassion and mercy upon me." The queen kept on insisting, no, you have to kill him, you have to kill him. So then finally he said, "Okay, For him, if I take away his religion, that will be as good as killing him. So, and what he did, he made him drink some water that was probably, I don't know what it was actually, like, which is considered to be a contaminated water. Maybe they put a drop of blood in that water, drop a blood of cow in that water and made him drink that. And as a result of that, he lost his religion. He was not, the Hindu society considered that he lost his religion. And he consulted various brahmanas, so-called leaders of the Brahman community. And they gave various instructions, which was as good as dying. Some said you have to drink molten lead. You're not drinking molten lead. It's a hot lead. But he took shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Subudhi Roy. Tell me what should I do? This is what has happened to me. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, just chant Hare Krishna. Simple solution. And Subhadra did that. He started to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But he left Bengal and went to Vrindavan. He was one of the first persons to go to Vrindavan from Bengal, and settle down. And although he was like a king at one time, he used to just cut wood from the forest and sell it in the city of Mathura. That's how he was maintaining himself. But he was staying in Vrindavan. And when the Bengali devotees used to come to Vrindavan, he used to feed them rice. The Bengalis are very fond of rice. And those days, in that area, there was no rice available. So, knowing how fond the Bengalis were of rice, he used to save his money from selling whatever little he used to get. He used to save some money from his earning to feed the Bengalis some rice. This is one example how rigid the Hindu society used to be those days, especially the Brahmanas. I'll come to that also at some point. These Brahmanas actually destroyed the Vedic culture. Garuda Purana actually mentions Brahmana kalimashritta jayante brahmajonishu. Taking advantage of the age of Kali, the Brahmanas, the Rakshasas will be born in the Brahmana families. And they would destroy the Vedic culture. And that's what happened. They introduced all kinds of atrocious, cruel activities and completely distorted the Vedic culture and simply took advantage of that for their own sense gratification in the name of Vedic culture. And anyway, and as a result of that, the whole culture became destroyed. This is one of the influences of the Kali, age of Kali. Kali's business is to establish dharma. Kali's business is to establish adharma, destroy dharma. Dharma is what has given by Krishna himself. And that is preserved in the Vedas. And when the Vedic practices and Vedic teachings are distorted, then the whole dharmic principle and structure is destroyed. It's very, very unfortunate actually. And anyway, so Subudhi Rai was one example. There are many such examples how on some very insignificant reason they used to ostracize the other exalted Brahmanas. And Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami was an example. They are the ones, those who introduced the caste system in the name of Varnashram. Actual Varnashram is based on guna and karma. But their understanding was birth, the Varna by birth. Anyway, the birth has some relevance to Varnashram. But in the age of Kali, there is Varna Shankar. People, you can't determine who is who by his birth. In the Brahmana family, there are individuals with Sudra characteristics. In Brahmana families, there are even Rakshasas, demons, like Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Ravan. They all were born in Brahmana families. But nobody considers them to be Brahmana. Ravan is not considered to be a Brahmana. Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha was not considered to be a Brahmana, although their parentage is Brahmanical. Anyway, so to go back to the main point, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami were ostracized just because they accepted the job in the court of the king. They didn't consider what would have been the consequence if they did not, because Hussain Shah was an extremely cruel person also, extremely cruel person. So if they denied, then no one knew what could have been done to them. An example of Hussain Shah's cruelty. Hussain Shah built a victory tower. Those days they would build a kind of a monument for their victory. So a very high tower, it's still there. And so when he was inspecting the tower, the engine, he found some defect in that tower. And the architect was there explaining, and maybe the architect himself also admitted, yes, that's true, it's a defect. So Hussain Shah immediately caught him, picked him up and threw him out of that tower. Just for one little mistake, he just killed him. So this is how cruel this person was, and not only him. I mean, those days many such characters were like that. So Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami lost their position in the Brahminical society, but they didn't give up their Brahminical heritage and Brahminical practices. And they were repentant, like they have been ostracized by the Brahminical community. So they appealed to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and wrote to him that this is what has happened to us, please tell us what we should do. And as a result of that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally came to deliver them. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, on the plea of going to Vrindavan, he came to this place, Ramkeli, which was their place of residence. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessed them. and instructed them to take to Krishna consciousness. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to Vrindavan. He went up to Kanai Natshala, a place on the border of Bihar and Bengal, and he returned from there. He didn't go to Vrindavan because thousands of people are following him. And he considered that this is not the way to go to Vrindavan. Actually, Sanatana Goswami told him that, do you really want to go to Vrindavan with so many people following you? And Mahaprabhu took that advice and returned back to Orissa, and then finally he went to Vrindavan through the forest path with only one companion, Balabhadra Bhattacharya. And on the way, so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessed Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. And soon after that, Rupa Goswami left home, left his government assignment, resigned from his post, and went to Vrindavan. And then Sanatana Goswami also wanted to do that. He stopped his royal engagement as the chief minister. So the king sent a message, why you are not coming? And he sent a message back, I'm sick. So the king sent his royal physician to him. And the physician came back and said, no, he's all right. Nothing is wrong with him. So then Sanatana Goswami, Hussain Shah himself came to Sanatana Goswami's house. So we can see like how he cared for Sanatana Goswami. When he heard that he was sick, he sent the doctor, his own physician. And when the physician said that he was okay, then he himself came. And he found that he's sitting there with a group of exalted Brahmana scholars and discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. The king got very upset. What happened? You said that you are sick, but you are all right, and now we can see that you are just reading books and wasting your time. So Sanatana Goswami said, actually I am not sick of this body. I am sick internally. I don't like this job that I am doing. Please release me. So Hussain Shah said, look, your younger brother is a bandit, is a dacoit. He just goes, kills people, plunders everywhere. You are the one who is actually maintaining the kingdom. And if you go away, then what will happen to the kingdom? So here also we can see how the king treated him like his elder brother. And Sanatana Goswami was actually maintaining the kingdom with his wisdom. So Sanatana Goswami said, please let me go. I lost all interest in these activities. Hussain Shah said that then I'm going to Orissa to fight with King Prataprudra, so you come with me. So Sanatana Goswami said, you are going to Orissa to trouble the Supreme Lord, Lord Jagannath. I can't go with you. So then he ordered, okay, arrest him, put him in prison, and I'll deal with him when I come back. So this is how Sanatana Goswami was put behind bars. And Sanatana Goswami, intelligent as he was, he managed to escape. So that's another story. I won't take too long onto that, go into that. My objective is actually to just give some brief understanding of Srila Sanatana Goswami, who he was. And Sanatana Goswami escaped from the prison. Anyway, since I told, do you want to hear how he escaped? Sanatana Goswami, he was the minister, so he knew all the government officials. He also knew the jailkeeper, the in charge of the prison. And so he tried to persuade him that, look, you see, you are a very pious person. And I have dedicated my life in the service of the Lord. So, you see, that's why I wanted to resign, and the king has arrested me and put me behind bars. So please, let me get out. I'll give you 5,000 gold coins. So the prison in charge said, look, you may give me 5,000 gold coins, but when the king finds out, he's just, chop my head off. So Sanatana Goswami said, don't worry about that. You tell the king that you took me to the bank of the river, because that whole arrangement was actually on the bank of a river. This kingdom was on the bank of the river, Ganga, and you tell him that my hands and feet were chained, and I went to attend to the nature's call, and you took me there, and then with my chains on hands and feet, I fell in the river and got drowned. You looked around everywhere, but you couldn't find me. And I'll give you 2,000 more gold coins. So he raised it to 7,000 gold coins. And this is how he escaped. And on the way to Vrindavan, he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At the time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Benares. And he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed him for 10 days. So just 10 days of instructions, and he became so exalted. And already he was a very, very exalted and very learned person. And so he wrote many books, as did other Goswamis, praising, glorifying the Goswamis in this way. Srinivas Acharya wrote 8 prayers. And it is called Sadgashami Ashtakam. You must have heard that. The refrain is Bande Rupa Sanatano Raghujugo Srijiva Gopalako. And he's saying, Nana Shastra Vicharenaiko Nipuno Sadharma Sanstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manno Sharanna Karo Bande Rupa Sanatano Raghujugo Srijiva Gopalako. Consulting various scriptures, Nana Shastra Vicharena, Eko Nipuno, with great expertise, Sadharma Sangstapako. They established the real religion, real principle of religion, Sadharma. What is real religion? Through their writings, Sadharma Sangstapako, Lokanam Hitakarino, for the benefit of all living entities. And therefore, Tribhuvane Manno Sharanna Karo. And because of that, they are worshipped and glorified and respectfully revered all over the world. Tribhuvane, in 3 worlds, they are being respected. So one of the books that Sanatana Goswami presented is Brihat Bhagavatamritam. Brihat means great, and Bhagavatamritam, nectarian glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His teachings. Bhagavatam means glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this book has 2 sections, 2 parts. First part is describing Narad Muni's journey, or not the journey, Narad Muni's search for the recipient of the greatest mercy of the Lord. Who is the receiver, who is the recipient of the Lord's mercy? The greatest recipient of Lord's mercy. Actually, he was there in Allahabad. That is the place where 3 rivers converge, called Sangam. Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. So that is where 3 rivers converge, and that is considered to be one of the greatest holy places. Prayagraj. The Sanskrit name for the place is Prayag, and it is considered to be the king of all the holy places, tirthas. So, and occasionally there takes place great spiritual gatherings, like Kumbh Mela. Every 12 years, Kumbh Mela takes place there. And there are also Magh Mela. In the month of Magh, the festival takes place. And so Narad Muni was seeing that all these exalted personalities, they're glorifying each other as the greatest Vaishnava. Oh, you are the greatest devotee of the Lord. You are the recipient of the Lord's mercy. You are the real recipient of Lord's mercy. And so Narad Muni decided, let me find out who is the real recipient of Lord's mercy. So he saw one Brahmana is very, with great devotion, was worshipping the Shaligram, the Lord in the stone form, Shaligram Shila. And the way he worshipped with so much devotion, like not only he worshipped, he offered many items to the Lord for as offerings. And then he distributed the prasad to everyone. First the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, then the elderly people and children, and like that. And even at the end, even the lowest class of people were given the prasadam of the Lord. Even the animals were given the prasadam of the Lord, dogs and all. And then this Brahmana, along with his family, accepted the prasad. So Narad Muni was so impressed, he approached him and told him, you are the greatest devotee of the Lord. You are the greatest recipient of Lord's mercy. So the Brahmana said, no, what is the devotion? What kind of devotion did you see in me? Actually, the king in South India is the greatest devotee of the Lord. I am a Brahmana, it is my occupation to worship. So I am worshipping out of my occupational responsibility. But this king, although he is a Kshatriya, but the way he worships the Lord is inconceivable. So Narad Muni immediately went there. Narad Muni has the ability to go wherever he wants to go in a flash of a moment. He just desired and he would appear there. So Narad Muni appeared to that king's palace in South India. And he saw there's a beautiful temple with the beautiful deities of the Lord, and they're being worshipped in such a wonderful way. So Narad Muni approached the king and started to glorify him as the greatest recipient of Lord's mercy. The king became very embarrassed. He said, what ability do I have to worship the Lord? I'm a simple human being. Where is my devotion? Actually, Indra, the king of heaven, is the greatest devotee. And he started to glorify Indra. So Narad Muni immediately went to heavenly planet, Sargaloka. And he saw Indra and started to glorify him. Oh, you are so great. Like you have such an important responsibility awarded on you by the Lord. And you are so dear to the Lord that the Lord himself has become your younger brother. Vamandev is Indra's brother. So in this way he started to glorify. And he also saw that that Vamandev is personally receiving his offerings. The Lord is personally receiving all that Indra was offering to him. And so when Narad Muni started to glorify Indra, Indra became very embarrassed. He said, what kind of devotion did you see in me? And in a very humble way, he started to admit his inability to be addressed as a devotee. And he said, actually, the real devotee is Brahma. Brahma is so dear to the Lord that the Lord treats him like his friend. He is not only the son of the Lord, but he is very dear and intimate friend of the Lord. So Narad Muni immediately went to Brahma and started to glorify him. Brahma became upset. Narad, how many times I have to tell you that I am not the greatest? So you're simply embarrassing me. Don't you know how many times I offended the Lord? And Brahma started to admit all his guilt in his devotional service. And he was saying, but the Lord is so kind that he forgives me. I stole his friends, I stole his cows. And I caused him so much distress. And you are saying that I am his devotee? Do you think a devotee ever behaves like that? Then Brahma started to glorify Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee. And he started to tell him why. Then Narad Muni immediately went to Kailash, to Lord Shiva, and started to glorify him. So Lord Shiva also very humbly started to tell him that he is not a devotee. And he also started to say so many times he offended the Lord, but the Lord is so merciful that he forgave him. Taking side with his devotee, Lord Shiva kept on telling that he's taking side in order to protect my devotee, Vanasura. I fought with him. I caused so much injury and pain to him, so much loss. And in this way Lord Shiva was lamenting. And then Lord Shiva started to tell him that actually the real devotees are the residents of Vaikuntha. They have the association of the Lord all the time. I rarely get to see him. Only once in a while he bestows his mercy upon me. I get to see him. Otherwise, but look at these Vaikuntha Vashis. They are always with the Lord. They are the relatives of the Lord. Lord treats them his own relatives. I'm sorry, all associates, Vaikuntha Vasis. So, and then Parvati kept on telling, and in Vaikuntha, Lakshmi is the greatest devotee. And she started to glorify Lakshmi Devi. And when Narad was about to leave for Vaikuntha, Lord Shiva said, actually, even more exalted than the Vaikuntha Vashis is Prahlad. Prahlad's devotion is even more exalted than the residents of Vaikuntha. So Narad Muni just immediately went to Sutala Loka where Prahlad Maharaj was and started to glorify Prahlad. But Prahlad Maharaj kept on telling that what devotion was there in me. I was just a little boy. I developed some childish attachment to the Lord. But the Lord is so merciful that He protected me in my distress. It was His kindness. There was no credit for me as devotee. You see, devotion is judged or measured by the amount of service. What service did I render? I didn't render any service to the Lord. There was some sort of attachment, and I acted on those attachments. But look at Hanuman, what he did. When it comes to service, he is the greatest. He brought the message of Mother Sita to the Lord, crossing the ocean, jumping across the ocean. He went to Sri Lanka and he brought the message of Sita, how she was kidnapped and where she was. When the Lord was building the bridge, He was carrying all these big, big mountain peaks, throwing them in the water. When the battle ensued, Hanuman was the greatest hero there. So Hanuman is the greatest devotee. So Narad Muni immediately went to Hanuman in the King Purush Varsha. And when he started to glorify Hanuman as a devotee, Hanuman started to cry. Says, why are you inflicting further pain onto the injury that is already there in my heart? My heart is afflicted with the separation from the Lord, and now you are putting further injury into the heart. You are saying, I am a devotee, I am the recipient of Lord's mercy. If I was the recipient of Lord's mercy, then why did He leave me behind and go away? And in this way, Hanuman started to explain or lament and tell Narad Muni that how he was not a devotee. And Hanuman started to say that the real devotees are the Pandavas, because the Lord is their friend, Lord is their protector, Lord is their maintainer. A beautiful temple where the Lord is being worshipped. So he became so attached to that place, he just stayed there. And he found a very conducive atmosphere to chant. So whole day he was chanting. And in the temple sometimes he would get some prasad. And at night he would just lie down in one corner and spend his night. Now in the meantime, the king died. And there was no successor to the kingdom, to the throne. So the ministers started to look for somebody with the proper signs that they could select him to become the king. Yes, in Vedic culture, by seeing a personality, one can recognize his actual identity or ability. And they found all the auspicious signs in Gopkumar. So they made Gopkumar the king. So Gopkumar became the king. But although he became the king, he didn't have any attraction for royal enjoyment. He was simply concerned about worshipping the Lord and promoting the glory of the Lord. But there in the worship and the way the Lord was treated, sometimes he felt quite disappointed. And then he heard from some pilgrim that the Lord is there on the bank of the saltwater ocean, where he is worshipped with such devotion, and he is so merciful that his remnants is never considered to be rotten or putrid. It is always considered to be transcendental. So hearing that, he became interested to go to that place. So one day he just left his kingdom and went to Jagannath Puri, Nilachal. And there he was completely absorbed in seeing the Lord's beauty and the grand worship that takes place, and how mercifully the Lord reciprocates to his devotees. So then Gopkumar just started to spend his time there the way he was before in the temple. And there also the king died, and the king did not have any son. The king's son declined to become the king. He didn't want to become the king. So then the ministers made Gopkumar the king. So in this way, he became the king of that place. And there one day he saw his spiritual master. So his spiritual master instructed him how to meditate on the mantra. And then Gopkumar now got elevated to the heavenly planet. He heard about the heavenly planets and Indra's position, Indra's devotion. So he wanted to see heavenly planet, and by the potency of the mantra, he was elevated to the heavenly planet, Sargaloka. So I'll try to go a little fast now. So there also he became Indra. At one time, Indra abused some Brahmana's wife, and as being afraid of being cursed, Indra ran away and the position became empty. So they made Gopkumar Indra. Although Gopkumar became Indra, the ruler of the demigods in the heavenly planet, he didn't want to indulge in any enjoyment of the heavenly planet. He used to stay in Nandankanan, the garden of heavenly planet. He would just stay there, not even stay in the palace. And his whole consideration was how to spread Krishna consciousness all over the universe. Then one day he saw some very powerful personalities. They were like brilliant as the sun, effulgent. And everyone was offering obeisances to them. So Gopkumar asked Brihaspati, the guru of the demigods, who are they? He said, they're the residents of Maharloka. Where is Maharloka? Maharloka is higher than heavenly planet. So Gopkumar desired to go to Maharloka, and he was elevated to Maharloka. Then he was seeing how in Maharloka they're worshipping the Lord by performing yajna, sacrifice. And then at one time, it became very hot, like nobody could stay there. What happened? Oh, now the devastation is taking place in the universe. And the fire of devastation, the heat is coming here. So they got transported to the next planet, Janaloka. And there everyone is worshipping the Lord through sacrifice, and the Lord, being satisfied with their worship, was appearing from the sacrificial fire and offering benedictions to everyone. Then he heard about another planet called Tapaloka. So Gopkumar wanted to go there, and he was elevated to Tapaloka. There he saw the 4 Kumaras. They are meditating, and in their meditation they are perceiving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord in the heart was reciprocating with them due to their devotion. And then he got elevated to Satyaloka, the region of Lord Brahma. And there also at one time Brahma was playfully playing with the water of Garbha ocean, and as a result of that, a demon came out, and Brahma became afraid and he ran away. And the post of Brahma now became vacant, and Gopkumar was made to assume the post of Lord Brahma. So in this way, Gopkumar was elevated to the topmost region of this material nature, the topmost planet, Satyaloka, and he became Brahma. So then there he met his guru. Again, Guru just appeared, and Guru told him about the material nature, the beyond material nature is the spiritual world. And then he was asked to chant the mantra, and as a result of that, chanting the mantra, he penetrated through the 7 layers of the universe. The first layer was the layer of the earth. There the Lord is Lord is being worshipped by the personality Mother Earth as Varahadev. Then he went to the water region. Personality of water was worshipping the the Lord as Meena, fish incarnation. Then he came to the region of fire. In this way, one after another region he was coming, penetrating. Earth, water, fire. The Lord was being worshipped as Vivashan. And, I'm sorry, not Vivashan, Vaishyanar. The Lord is being worshipped as Vaishyanar. And then he came to the air area, ether, and then mind and false ego. In those four regions, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Shankarshan, and Vasudeva are being worshipped respectively. Then he came out of this material nature. Oh no, beyond that there was the layer of Prakriti, Maya, Prakriti. So earth personified, earth, the Mother Nature personified is worshipping Mohini, Murti of the Lord. Then transcending that region, he came to Brahmajyoti. Then he came to a region, when he was in Brahmajyoti for the first time, Gopkumar couldn't see the Lord. And he was very much in anxiety, very afraid. Because he couldn't see the Lord, he started to pray to Lord Jagannath. And then he heard some sound of Sankirtan with instruments, some music is going on. And then he saw a personality whose complexion was like white as camphor, sitting on a bull, is coming down surrounded by his associates, while his associates were singing his glory. So Gopkumar wondered, who is that? Then one of the associates of this person told him, oh, you don't know, this is Lord Shiva. And he started to glorify Lord Shiva, saying that he is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they requested him to come and stay with them. But Gopkumar declined and he went further. And then he came to Vaikuntha. When he came to Vaikuntha at the gate, he saw that the Lord is standing there. So he just offered obeisances, glorifying the Supreme Lord in prayers. And that personality says, no, I am not him, I am only his servant. And saying that, he ran inside. Another person, and with a consort, came riding on a flying machine. So Gopkumar thought that he is Narayan and Lakshmi. He started to glorify. And they also said, no, I am not that, I am not him. And then eventually someone took compassion upon him and said, come, I'll take you to the Lord. So he took him to the Lord's court. And there he saw the Lord sitting with Lakshmi in a throne. He offered obeisances, and he was given so much affection. Seeing the Lord, he fainted. And Lakshmi Devi herself came and treated him like a child and brought him back to his senses. And the Lord gave him his remnants. So in this way he started to stay there. And the residents of that place, Vaikuntha, started to tell him that, look, here everyone gets this spiritual form with 4 arms, and why are you still retaining your cowherd boy's identity? But Gopkumar didn't respond to that. He said, no, I'm fine the way I am. And so then he heard about Ajodha, and he wanted to go there. He was elevated to Ajodha. He was elevated to Dwarka. And in Dwarka, the queens were treating him with great affection. But still Gopkumar was not interested. So there he met his guru again. And his guru told, not his guru, this time it is Narad Muni. Narad Muni told him, Gopkumar, you are in Dwarka, you are having such association and affection from the Lord. So why are you still lamenting? As if your heart is not fully content, your heart is not fully satisfied. So then Gopkumar said, yes, I know, I am receiving so much mercy of the Lord, but I do not know why my heart is always hankering for this young boy who wears a peacock feather on his head and who plays flute. So Narad Muni said, okay, I understood. So he said, come. And Narad Muni advised him to go back to the earth planet, go back to Vrindavan, and there you perform Sankirtan. Call out to the Lord with all the heart of your love, all the love of your heart. Call out to Him, sing His glory with all the love of your heart. And so Gopkumar came back to Vrindavan of this earth planet. And there he just all the time started to sing the glory of the Lord. Hey Govinda, Hey Gopal. And then one day he saw Krishna. And seeing Krishna, he just ran to meet him. And he came almost so close, almost he caught the end of his cloth. But it slipped out of his hand and Krishna disappeared. And his condition was something like one who received an inconceivable wealth and then he lost it all. So in this intense feeling of separation, he fainted. And his body rolled down to the Jamuna and it was carried as if in a vehicle. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nilamadhava ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Giridhari ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Prahlad Nrsimha Dev ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So, and when Gopkumar regained his consciousness, he felt as if he is being carried in an extremely fast-moving vehicle. And then he arrived in Vrindavan. It was in the afternoon. He saw that some ladies, some young girls were picking flowers and they're all singing Krishna's glory. But when he heard them, when he asked them, where is the house of Nanda Maharaj, where can you meet Krishna? None of them responded. To him it seemed that either they're deaf or they're so absorbed in singing the glory of Krishna that they don't have any other consciousness. So then it's the same thing. Whoever he meets there, whoever he sees there, nobody responded. Then one old lady at the end took some compassion upon him and told him that that's the house of Nanda Maharaj. Now Krishna has gone to tend the cows and he'll come back soon. When Gopkumar went near that house, he found that everyone is looking at a certain direction. And then he saw some dust flying, And he heard the mooing of the cows and laughter of the boys. And then he saw all these cows and cowherd boys are coming back. And right in front were Krishna and Balaram. So seeing that, Gopkumar just ran to meet Krishna. And Krishna also came running towards him. And both of them embraced each other. And Krishna fainted. So the gopis, those who were looking at Krishna and Balaram at that time returning, seeing what happened that Krishna fainted, they thought that this must be one of the associates of Kamsa who came to harm Krishna. So they were very, very worried. And Balaram also, everyone became worried, and Balaram also came running, and seeing Krishna's condition, he could understand what happened. So he told Gopkumar, you chant his name in his ears. And Gopkumar did that. And when he chanted his name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna came back to his senses. And Krishna again started to tell him, my friend, where have you been all this while? I had been missing you so much. And Krishna took him by his hand and took him to the house. And so this is how Krishna receives a devotee when he goes back to Godhead. So then Krishna actually took Gopkumar to the house with him, while all the cowherd boys were standing outside of Krishna's house. They kept on looking at Krishna. Krishna also was going into the house, and he turned around, and he also just stood there without moving, looking at his friends. Then Mother Jashoda said, come Krishna, the whole day you have been playing with them, and still now you want to be with them, come in. So she forced Krishna inside. And this is how Gopkumar went back to the topmost region of the spiritual sky. And in this way, so you can see what Srila Prabhupada gave. Do you recognize the value of that gift? So, fully convinced? Or do you want to have anything else? Is there anything superior to this? No. Actually, I gave this, you see, you must have seen, Brihad Bhagavatamritam came in 3 big volumes, practically 1,000 pages each. So, I simply gave you the gist of it. But when you have the time, I know many of you have it in your house, but you don't read it. So please read it. See what a wealth it is. And this is how you will recognize what Srila Prabhupada gave us. Like the topmost gift that anyone can ever dream of having. So please take care of this gift and take full advantage of this gift. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Does anybody have any question? Yes. Cordless microphone. Is that Mataji has her hands up? There she is.
Hello? Okay. Maharaj, is it possible to go back to Godhead in this one very lifetime, or we have to take birth?
This question you have to ask Krishna. It's entirely up to Krishna, and devotee's mood is Janmani Mama Janmani Janmani Shari. What's the hurry in going back? Okay, simple consideration. When you go back, what will you do there? What will you do when you go back to the spiritual sky? Any idea? No. You don't know what you're going to do. Huh? Can't you serve Krishna here? So, the point is, you will do the same thing that you can do here. Therefore, although Prabhupada said that at a neophyte stage one wants to go back to Godhead, but at an advanced stage, doesn't care, because whatever you're doing there, you're able to do here. So why not just do here? Rather, doing it here is even more exciting. Trying to go there is a kind of sense gratification. Like, what is devotion? Serving Krishna. What is the difference between lust and love? Desire to gratify our own senses is lust. The desire to give pleasure to Krishna's senses is love. So when we want to give pleasure to Krishna's senses, it doesn't matter wherever we are. Like when we preach, give Krishna consciousness to others, Krishna becomes very pleased. Serving or promoting Krishna consciousness is the way to give pleasure to Krishna. So that we can do here. Rather, Krishna becomes more pleased when we preach. Don't shake like this. Tomake bolchi. She's behind you. So here we see we have given up Krishna. So Krishna becomes very pleased when we make an effort to take them back to Krishna. So that is why the service opportunity is greater here than there. I mean, it may sound odd, but that's the reality. So that is why, as I said, at some certain stage we want to go back to Godhead. Prabhupada said, that's good. If you want to give up your nonsense here and go back there, that's good. But when you become properly situated in service, then you see that actually the opportunity to serve here is greater than there. There everybody is Krishna conscious. So there you don't have to preach. But preaching, didn't Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? That those who preach, they are most dear to me. So we have the ample opportunities here to preach. So let's go out and preach. All right? Thank you. Any other question?
Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam, dear Lotus feet. I just wanted to ask is regarding those two stories you have spoken, you have told us. The first one you mentioned that Narada Muni went to see Hanumanji in some planet. So I have never heard of that name. So if you could
Who is
explain.
that?
Narada Muni.
You never heard of his name?
No, Narada Muni went to see Hanumanji some planet.
Oh, okay. It's called King Purusha Varsha.
So that is a spiritual sky or
No, that's a
material
part
sky?
in the material nature.
Oh, okay. And
There are
other-
different varshas, like Bharat Varsha
Right.
is one region. Similarly, King Purusha Varsha is one region, the region of the monkeys. Okay?
I thought Hanumanji is still here, so I was just wondering that
Hanumanji is in India also.
he's still here.
There are plenty of, they're Hanuman's descendants. But Hanuman is in King Purusha Varsha. Did you see Hanuman in India?
People say that he is still here in the Himalaya, somewhere in Himalaya. When Bhim
Anyway, you get the point. There's another region called King Purusha Varsha,
okay,
and Hanuman is there.
okay, thank you so much.
Don't believe in what they say in TV, Indian TV. They're just giving all kinds. They don't consult the scriptures when they're present. They just, most of the time they just imagine something or what they heard from their grandmother. Okay.
And the other question is Gopakumar. He traveled all those material and spiritual sky. Was it in his material body, or he has got different bodies according to the
You
nature?
see, to go to different regions, you have appropriate bodies.
Oh, he got appropriate body to me.
Appropriate bodies. But the thing is that the subtle body, the mental body, is transformed into spiritual body.
Right.
Right? We have 3 bodies. One is the gross body, made of 5 elements, 5 gross elements. This body is made of earth, water, fire, air and ether. But beyond that we have a subtle body that is made of mind, intelligence and false ego. And beyond that is the spiritual body. So the subtle body made of mind, intelligence and false ego, through devotional service it becomes transformed into spiritual body. Spiritual mind, spiritual intelligence and spiritual identity. When you become the servant of Krishna, then our false ego is gone. Similarly, our intelligence and mind is transformed into spiritual intelligence and spiritual mind. I think she has a question there. Do you want to ask the question or get absorbed in your mobile phone? You had a question, you had your hands up, right? Yeah. Let her, she came before. How was that?
I pocket Vedas. I have all the books, in pocket.
Okay.
Stuff. But so many of Prabhupada's purports, he talks about, and your perfection is to go back home, back to Godhead. So he stresses that over and over again, and yet you're saying that is, if I understood, a selfish desire.
You see, yes, we should go back to Godhead because that is our spiritual identity. But ultimately, it is up to Krishna. When we are not so advanced, then we think that going back to Godhead means living here and going there. But when you make spiritual advancement, then you realize that going back to Godhead is a state of consciousness. It's not a geographical consideration. It's a consciousness consideration. And that's why I was saying, now, let us consider what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. Do you remember the 4th verse of Shikshashtakam? Anyway, he is saying, saying that Mama Janmani Janmaneshwari Bhavatad Bhakti Rahituki. Janmani means birth after birth. I can get your devotional service. So when you have become situated in devotional service, then you are actually there. You are with Krishna. And when you are with Krishna, then this place becomes spiritualized. Like yesterday, probably you remember the example I gave. A prisoner surrenders to the king. Now, is everybody in the prison a prisoner? No. Those who are working on behalf of the king, are they prisoners? No. The prison employees of the king are free. They are not imprisoned there. Similarly, those who become engaged in serving the Lord in this world, they're already there. So that is the main consideration. Right?
Yes, I think.
But going back to Godhead in the sense, oh, I'll become free from this hassle, like I'm tired of this. So that is good, get sick and tired of this world and try to get out of here. So that is the main consideration. So yes, Prabhupada did say, go back to God. Our business is to go back to God. But here we have to understand that it's not a physical consideration. It's actually a spiritual consideration. Yeah, he has a question here.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much for your very inspiring and profound classes and sessions. My question is related to yesterday's discussion that we had in the evening on the topic of presenting Krishna consciousness in a nicer way to the public, like sugar coating it and giving it to the public. And in my experience, I've experienced that when doing that, some people dilute the principles or compromise on some principles that Srila Prabhupada has given us in terms of presenting it to the new people, sugar-coating it and present, as you said. That's one aspect. And the other one is some of them are not really very trained enough to do that, and they commit mistakes on how to go about that. So how do we overcome those two situations, Maharaj?
Yeah, in simple word I would respond. When you're preaching to somebody, put emphasis on Krishna, relationship with Krishna, and chanting the holy name. Inspire them to chant the holy name. Don't just, frighten them with 4 regulative principles. Right at the beginning, don't present that. Because most of the people, will be so scared, they will not even want to see you again. And also I mentioned, preaching is an art. Preaching is an art, One has to know how to present it to whom. So that is how we have to do it. So there is a question from the back in the mother, and then I'll take your question. So in the meantime, I just want to remind again to everybody, that as I was saying, yes, we should want to go back to Godhead. But let's leave it up to Krishna, because we cannot really. Our mode is, I am your servant. Does the servant demand from the master, you have to do this for me, you have to do that for me? A good servant's attitude is, whatever you want me to do, I will do. And then let the master decide what he wants to award us. So that was the idea. Yes, Mataji?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question is, sometimes some of us lose motivation. Do you have any advice for those of us?
Lose motivation.
Yes.
Read Prabhupada's books. Read Prabhupada's books. You'll be re-motivated.
Thank you.
Because that gives us the reminder, what is the benefit of practicing Krishna consciousness? So that's why reading Prabhupada's books are very important. Because if you don't read Prabhupada's books, we won't really get the impetus to follow, inspiration to follow. Therefore, it is very, very important that we read Prabhupada's books, especially when we lose our motivation. Yes.
Prabhuji, thank you very much. And
Close to your mouth. Just hold it close to your mouth.
yeah, thank you for your nice nectarian, informative, and very educational lecture, and I learned a lot. Answer to this morning question that how we can invite or address the American people, how we can attract. And you see that when more of the Indians comes, because we have learned something in Indian family, what is the importance of Harinam and what is the importance of chanting. If you want to spread to the American people and teach them, Krishna conscious is a Krishna science which is not easy to understand. So I think each temple or a Bhakti Vedanta college, if they have representative who can come, and there are so many divinity colleges here, like a Divinity College of Dukes, Shreveport in Louisiana, Centenary College, and they go and teach as a subject what is Krishna science or Krishna conscious, what is the importance. When Prabhupada came in 70, those people understand Harinam and chanting. We are talking about 2019, and if we have to continue this Harinam and chanting importance for many more years to come, we need somebody who can give them in-depth knowledge.
Yes, very good point, yeah. And Shyamsundar Prabhu will take note of that. Thank you. There's a last question from that Mataji. Have to.
Thank you, Maharaj, for coming and hitting some really important points. And I'd like to say, in defense of the Bhakti Rickshaw group that I've been in since probably around 2012, that a group that was taken over by Kalasudha Devi Dasi and Advaita Chandra Das, who have taught us and really nurtured and expanded the outreach for mostly Westerners. They've done an incredible job of exposing us to not only the etiquette here at the temple, to videos, to workshops that they created, to ongoing groups, to serving. But they did it in a way, in a slow way, in a very nurturing way. And I think that everyone needs to, know that they have created an incredible way of teaching this group of people. So if you have any ideas or you want some information, you should find out, because they've done an incredible job. And I'm still here. And